Thank you to Preserve Gold for being a sponsor of our Newsmax podcasts. Thinking about investing in physical gold or silver but not sure who you should trust? The folks at Preserve Gold are the perfect partner and highly rated for all your precious metal needs. Text the word DAILY to 50505 and get up to $10,000 in free gold and silver, and to learn more today from Preserve Gold.
Hello, happy Friday, and welcome to your Newsmax Daily for May 24th, 2024, the start of Memorial Day weekend, one of the biggest and most important holiday weekends of the year. Today is also National Brothers Day. If you are fortunate enough to have a brother or maybe brothers, call him or them. Don't send an email or a text. Call. Go see them if you can. Hug them. Enjoy it. Life is short. If you're flying today, severe weather from Texas to Chicago and other areas impacting some air travel, so make sure you check before you go. This after more tornadoes caused more damage last night, specifically in Texas, East Texas, where I have friends and family. Saw some video from there. A lot of damage, rough night, and, we're keeping all those folks in our prayers. If you're driving this holiday weekend, number one, be very careful, of course, but it is a great opportunity to catch up on the Newsmax Daily, as well as some of the other great Newsmax podcasts. And gas prices are high, right? And they're generally going to get even higher as we move into the summer. So the Biden administration is going to try and lower prices by releasing 1 million barrels of gasoline from reserves, specifically a Northeast reserve that was established after Superstorm Sandy. Apparently, the gasoline has been sitting there in New Jersey. This is not coming from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in Texas and Louisiana. President received his daily briefing this morning. Then he and the First Lady immediately cleared it for Delaware. It's after a rough day yesterday, which I'll get to in a bit, with the help of senior White House correspondent James Rosen and Greg Kelly. First, we go to former President Donald Trump's rally in the historically blue Bronx borough of New York.
Very much. This is some turnout. And I want to thank New York's finest. They just brought a lot of additions. So we have people, thousands of people outside that can't even get in, but they'll get in eventually. We appreciate it. New York's finest. Hello, New York City, and hello to all of the incredible, tough, strong, hardworking American patriots right here in the Bronx. Who would think? I'm thrilled to be back in the city I grew up in, the city I spent my life in, the city I helped build, and the city that we all love, New York City. And I'm here tonight to declare that we are going to turn New York City around, and we are going to turn it around very, very quickly. We're going to bring safety back to our streets. We're going to bring success back to our schools. We're going to bring prosperity back to every neighborhood and every borough of the greatest city in our land. We're going to reduce taxes. We're going to bring businesses and big taxpayers back to New York. Gotta bring them back. And we're going to make New York bigger, better, and more beautiful than ever before. And that includes right here in the Bronx. And it's going to be done and funded starting on January 20th, directly from our great and beautiful White House. Is that okay? For my whole life, I always thought that this city is a monumental testament to the power of the American spirit and the American dream. When New York started as a small, rugged Dutch trading post near the tip of Manhattan in 1624, what you see around you is nothing more than wilderness and marsh. But by the muscle and backbone and genius of the people of New York, we built the city into the towering forest of iron, aluminum, concrete, and steel. We made this city and state into the capital of global commerce. We turned our hometown into the bustling center of a confident, glamorous American culture, and we inspired the entire world. We inspired the world.
The entire rally aired live on Newsmax 2. Today, other networks are telling viewers, how Trump again praised Putin or President Xi. This is what he actually said.
When you see President Xi of China, when you see Kim Jong-un of North Korea, when you see Putin and you see all these people, they're at the top of their game, whether you like it or not, and they can't believe that this has happened to the United States. We have lost respect all over the world. We were the most respected country in the world 4 years ago. We were respected more than our country was ever respected 4 years ago, and now we're being laughed at. We're like a joke, and that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. We're going to do whatever it takes to fix our roads, bridges, and highways. We're going to take back our parks, not just for children, but for everybody. We're going to renovate New York's subway system so it no longer looks like it hasn't been cleaned since 1932, but rather it will be the most beautiful transit system anywhere in the world.
The last Republican president or presidential candidate to campaign in the Bronx was Ronald Reagan in the mid-'80s. This is former Trump campaign spokesman Hogan Gidley on Wake Up America this morning.
I just don't think we're going to see anything like this in politics ever again. Only Donald Trump could go into the Bronx, not just have people there, not just have them engaged, but deliver for them a message that they probably have never heard before because it is such a blue part of the country. He goes into the tough places. You know, I remember when he decided to take that CNN debate, we were all going, oh, my gosh. I heard all the commentators saying, oh, my gosh, how could he go into CNN? They asked all the tough questions. They rigged the whole thing against him. He went into the Bronx, for heaven's sakes. That's the kind of popularity he has. And it's not just the performance, although it's always amazing. It's always about the policies. The people out there, I watched the pre-interviews, they were talking about the crime in their city. They were talking about corruption. They want someone to come in there and bring the gas prices down. All those interviews pointed to the policies that Donald Trump had in place that made their lives better. I don't know if New York's going to go red or not, but I tell you, if one person could do it, it's Donald Trump. Yeah,
a recent New York Times poll this week showing that Donald Trump has 20% support from black voters. And obviously, a lot of black people in the crowd yesterday. Politico reporting this morning, Biden didn't come to the Bronx. And that's what everyone was chanting as Donald Trump took the stage. I love this quote from them. The crowd reflected New York's diversity with Hasidic Jews, blacks, and Latinos all in attendance, all wearing MAGA hats. What did you make of the crowd last night, Mark?
Well, the crowd was amazing, but here, let me play this out. This gives everyone who wasn't there, who's got a history of voting Democrat, who may be on the fence, support. They know they're not alone. Mm-hmm. They're not the only ones in their own neighborhoods who are sick of the crime, the inflation, the gas prices, the immigration.
Good point.
And so even if you weren't there, you just saw a bunch of your neighbors or people who look just like you going, it's all right. You can change history. You can vote to make America great again.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, 25,000 people. Mm-hmm. So we were told yesterday that, they don't charge for the tickets to get in. Admission is free. But 10,000 people had already gone online and signed up to appear at this event. And then you got to go through security. You got to wait in line. The video of people in line, again, this is the South Bronx. We're talking about one of the bluest spots on the entire map. And Donald Trump draws... Hogan, it was 25,000 people. There's no way to get an exact number, but that's like filling Madison Square Garden for a Rangers game. What was fascinating to me is, a lot of people in MAGA hats. A lot of people, you saw people every color, shape, size.
That's from this morning's Wake Up America. I did retweet a video of the line to get into the park. As Rob said, people of every ethnic background. And we know Trump has been gaining support with black and Hispanic voters. He's also gaining support with younger voters. Rob and Charla spoke with Brilyn Hollyhand, co-chair of the RNC Youth Advisory Council.
Is there a cool factor to Trump that Biden just doesn't have with voters?
Oh, there absolutely is. I gave a 37-minute speech on a college campus a few weeks ago, this long thing about policies. The first question I was asked when we started Q&As was, how is Trump like in real life? What's his personality like? My generation's obsessed with him. They think he's so cool, he's down to earth, and that's what they're kind of going towards him. They see Biden's just kind of this senile old man stumbling up and down stairs, and Trump's got the kind of the hit factor to him, so it's helping him out.
No, I've met Trump. He's larger than life. Joe Biden on life support. A tremendous contrast there.
Trump is larger than life, and Biden is on life support. Great line from Rob Finnerty, co-host of Wake Up America. I mentioned Newsmax senior White House correspondent James Rosen at the open. This is one of his updates from the White House yesterday.
The last time President Biden took part, even in the kind of abbreviated news conference that American presidents used to hold routinely with foreign leaders, was back on April 10th with the Japanese Prime Minister more than 6 weeks ago. Since then, Mr. Biden has called Japan and India xenophobic, struggled through an interview with Erin Burnett of CNN, agreed to debate former President Trump, and carried on just yesterday at his greeting of President Ruto of Kenya on the South Lawn driveway, a rather stilted series of exchanges with reporters on hand for the arrival.
President, when are you going to Africa, sir?
When you want to go?
When you want to go?
Ready?
Moments later, President Biden initiated another awkward exchange with reporters, trying to make light of his broken promise to visit Africa last year, the subject of the previous exchange.
We're headed today. Africa.
What, sir?
Anyway.
You think you'll get there before January?
I plan on going to February after the election. Are these questions relevant?
All this followed Monday's Rose Garden appearance at an event celebrating Jewish American Heritage Month, where Mr. Biden's struggles with the teleprompter and lucidity in general were once again pronounced.
The department has to investigate discrimination aggressively. That's my special envoy to monitor cabinet anti-Semitism, Deborah. You all, where is Deborah here?
That was an attempted shout-out to Deborah Lipstadt, one of America's most accomplished historians of the Holocaust, appointed by Mr. Biden as special envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. That news conference with President Ruto is scheduled for the noon hour.
That's White House senior correspondent James Rosen. And for some details on the ceremony with the president of Kenya, we go to Greg Kelly Reports.
Joe Biden hosted the president of Kenya today. And the president of Kenya, man, that guy has his act together. Joe looked like a mess. Yeah, the soldiers kind of acting like a seeing eye dog for Joe. Really, really bad. And then there was another moment. See how the Kenyan president is at attention? And Joe keeps wiping his nose and putting his hands in his pockets. And no, that's not what you're supposed to do. Blowing his nose. All right, there's another moment, please. Oh, brother. Again with the lost routine. There are 4 chairs. Pick one. Oh, the steps. He does look like an invalid. I'm sorry.
So that was a little play-by-play of the ceremony on the South Lawn or North Lawn, and this is the president opening the state dinner ceremony at the White House last night.
Well, welcome to the White House. White House never looked this good.
All right, easy enough, right? And here we go.
There's a bright light in the White House tonight with our guests. They've been impressive and accommodating. And you know, Jill and I are honored to have you here and representing, including many members of the African diaspora. One just left, Barack.
OMG, right? Number 1, a complete snorefest. Number 2, what is he saying? Meanwhile, Donald Trump will be attending the NASCAR Coca-Cola 600 Sunday at beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway, as we discussed the other day. If he is flying into the nearby Concord Airport and not Charlotte International, there's a good chance that Trump Force One will fly over the Speedway. My wife and I attended that race 2 years ago when I was working in Charlotte. It's a fantastic, patriotic event, you know, as most NASCAR races are, but a very patriotic Memorial Day weekend tradition. Yesterday, I played a clip of Texas Senator Ted Cruz questioning Secretary of State Antony Blinken about actions of the State Department. Florida Representative Brian Mast, a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, is calling out the State Department's frivolous spending, something that I have talked about many times here on the Newsmax Daily. This is from National Report with Sean Kreisman and Emma Reckenberg.
You've been calling out Secretary of State Antony Blinken for wasting millions of U.S. tax dollars, specifically this. You say the State Department is sending $500,000 to Nepal to promote atheism, more than $10 million to the Taliban, and spending $312 million to build a port in Gaza that ended up empowering Hamas. We have that on the screen here from you, sir. How do you plan on holding the State Department accountable for this, and how did you get a hold of this information?
These are just tip of the iceberg issues. $500,000 is a lot of money to most people, but I think a lot of people recognize it's a very small amount in the world of the U.S. government. That's one of tens of thousands of grants that the State Department sends around the world. And the Secretary of State, others high up in the State Department, they have no idea where this money is going. They deny it. We write them 10, 20, 30 letters about these things. They'll deny it until you actually put the proof in front of your face. Hey, here it is. Here it says right here on this request that you want to expand atheism in Nepal. Here it is, says $500,000. Here it says how you're going to achieve that. Here's the group Humanist International over in England that you're going to give $500,000 of America's money to do this, to basically produce a 100-page PowerPoint, send it to a country where the average daily wage is $2 a day for $500,000, and they're going to pocket $499,000 in their corporate offices and pay it out to their people. That's the way the State Department wastes your money over and over and over again.
Can we focus in on the Taliban? Millions of dollars going to the Taliban? What's going on? What's that being used for?
So again, think about it a little bit of the way that I just said it. You have the State Department. They take in billions of dollars of your money. Then they have partnering groups or non-government organizations, grant recipients in Afghanistan and other countries. And they all say, hey, well, we want to take a couple million of those dollars and we want to do something good in Afghanistan so please give us that money. State Department gives them that money. And it's basically just a filter to send it to the Taliban. Sometimes the Taliban will just take it like you might imagine they strong arm it. Sometimes they do it in the form of saying, well, we're going to give you a tax or a value added tax, or we're going to do it in this way. But very literally, U.S. tax dollars going directly to the Taliban, who is now welcoming in, of course, Al-Qaeda, ISIS-K, ISIL, you name it. So we're essentially, again, funding our allies in the same way that we're doing in Gaza right now.
Well, switching up to something that
funding our enemies in the same way we're doing in Gaza.
Sure.
That is not partisan hyperbole. Congressman Mast is an Army combat veteran who served in Afghanistan. He knows more than the average congressional bear knows. And heading into Memorial Day, this interview got very emotional.
Talk to us about what it means to you specifically, the time that you've served, the men and women that you've served by.
You know, I very literally just came back from the Vietnam Memorial while I was out there with a host of my colleagues, that we were just putting scrub brushes and soap on the wall, just cleaning it off, remembering those that gave that ultimate sacrifice in Vietnam, out there with some of my brothers and sisters in arms that did serve in Vietnam before I came in. And I couldn't help but literally weep when I was out there. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help the tears from pouring down my face, even though I wasn't in Vietnam myself. I was in Afghanistan. And it's because, man, when we get around Memorial Day, I think about the sacrifice of friends that I've lost. Sometimes when I hear taps just playing in the background, I mean, I've just heard it too many times, seen flags draped over the caskets of my friends, and those individuals, man, that served in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know this. I know it's an emotional time. Memorial Day, again, remember those that have died. Much different than Veterans Day. And Congressman, if I can, you suffered a life-altering injury, and you're still with us today. Much different than others here. The good Lord wanted you to be here, obviously for a reason, sir, right?
Yeah, you can't explain it. An inch to the left or right in combat. Sorry.
It's okay.
That's all right, Congressman.
We're glad you're here to share this message, by the way, with viewers. It's an emotional one. It's such a clear reminder of the importance of this weekend of Memorial Day. Thank you for taking the time this morning, sir, and walking us through it.
Newsmax's Emma Reckenberg and Sean Kreisman with Florida Congressman and combat veteran Brian Mast. So while you're grilling, boating, beaching, sleeping, whatever, don't forget what Memorial Day is really all about. Honoring and mourning those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And make sure you're flying that flag on your home. And make sure you keep up with all of the news all weekend long on Newsmax, when you can, starting off with Wake Up America Weekend Edition, both Saturday and Sunday, Saturday and Sunday Agenda, Saturday Report, the Gorka Reality Check, and much, much more. Also, make sure you're streaming the new Newsmax Plus. If you're not, simply go to newsmaxplus.com, get signed up. You can also get a free trial. It includes all of your favorite shows and hosts and fantastic expert analysis from people like Governor Mike Huckabee, Hogan Gidley, former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, Professor Alan Dershowitz, and much more. I'm Tony Marino. Thank you, as always, for listening to the Newsmax Daily. Please continue to share it with your friends and family. Have a fantastic and safe Memorial Day weekend, and keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the Newsmax app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
It's our America. We conquered it. We built it. Great values like honesty and fairness. Great courage. A great nation needs a free press. Newsmax is it. 30 million Americans regularly go to Newsmax when they really need to know. They watch Newsmax TV at home. On the free Newsmax app, they go to Newsmax.com. Start today. Newsmax is real news for real people.